O sun, stand still over Gibeon. O moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. As it is written in the book of Jasher, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since. Now, many people consider this a complete myth. It is just a Jewish folk tale in an attempt to boost their link with a miracle-working God. However, Geradas Bauer has collected stories of a long day or a long night from several tribes from around the world. Let me just give you a few examples. In Egypt, the Greek historian Herodotus recorded that when he visited Egypt, the priests there showed him an ancient manuscript that told the story of a day that lasted twice as long as a normal day. As they had accurate water clocks, they could record time. They could easily, therefore, record that a long day had taken place. And there are similar references to a long day in both China and in India. Several North American Indian tribes have accounts of long nights. The Ojibways, Wyandots and Abungis tell of a long night. The Omahas tell of the sun being caught in a rabbit's trap and only released just before dawn. The Dogroods tell of the sun suddenly becoming dark at noon. Similarly, in South America, the Mexicans, Aztecs, Mayans and Peruvians, and in West Africa also, there are stories of a long night. Now, some may think that these stories have arisen because of the superstitious nature of ancient people. So if so, there would be surely a random distribution. One tribe might have fabricated a story of a long day, and a few miles away, another tribe might have a story of a long night. But that is not what we find, because there are two interesting features of these stories. First of all, if you plot the stories on a map of the world, you see quite quickly that they are gathered into two areas. The long day stories are gathered in one area, Egypt, China and India, and in the second area, North and South America, there are stories of a long night. Now you can plot the shadow of night and day as it travels around the world, and at that time of the year it is like a sine wave, a curve that rises to the north hemisphere and then falls to the south and then goes back to the north again as it travels round the earth. Now it is possible to move this shadow to such a position that the shadow of night completely covers all the long night stories, and the daylight part of the curve on the upper section covers all the long day stories. Therefore, these stories cannot be random local myths, but a worldwide event that actually happened and is recorded in the folk stories of those people that actually experienced it. Now, the other point is that the exact position of the shadow is not certain. It can be moved within certain limits. However, there is one point that defines just where that shadow should be. Sir James Fraser records that on a hillside on an eastern island of Fiji, the natives tie the weeds together, quote, to stop the sun going down, as it is said that it once did. This places the edge of the shadow at this point, giving a more accurate position for where the sun stood still. From this, Geradas Bauer calculates that the time was about 9 a.m. in Israel. Now, using the historic dates from these tribes, Bauer calculated that it was May the 18th to the 15th in 1448 BC and that it started at about 9 a.m. for Joshua's long day to begin.
This is the Lord's sign to you, that the Lord will do what he has promised. I will make the shadow cast by the sun go back the 10 steps it has gone down on the stairway of Ahaz.
So the sunlight went back the 10 steps it had gone.
Well, I don't believe you're aware, maybe you are, but I don't believe most people are aware that just a few thousand years ago, at 705 BC, a major worldwide catastrophic event occurred. It actually shifted the entire planet, but it was not a pole shift. In fact, during that time, King Hezekiah reigned, and the sun moved backward in the sky. It did not set. It simply, the planet stopped revolving in its current direction, and it moved backward about 10 hours worth, of almost half of a revolution. And then whatever gravitational wave affected it, it released it, and then it continued to move forward in the same direction. At that very same time, 705 BC, according to our current calendar, the ancient Chinese, who were great astronomers, they recorded that the sun set twice in the same day. It set, it rose back up from the west, and it set again. Now,
that sounds like we were doing the moving.
Right. Now, during that time, before that time, we have discovered, it is very well documented over hundreds of years. There are historically 15 ancient calendars that were discovered before that time, that existed before 705 BC. 15 ancient calendars. Every one of those calendars has 360-day years. Every calendar is based on a 360-day year. After that event, every calendar for the next 5 years, all around the planet, all the civilizations changed their calendars. The Assyrians, the Chaldeans, the Egyptians, the Hebrews, the Persians, the Greeks, the Chinese, the Mayans, the Hindus. There's every civilization that existed during that time over the next 5 years readjusted their calendars to 365-day years.
Something happened. How did they know this?
They knew it because the stars didn't line up. In fact, they took various approaches. It was very interesting. Numis Pompilius, the second king of Rome, recognized the original calendar, but he added 5 days per year to it to adjust. King Hezekiah, Numis' contemporary at that same time, reorganized the Jewish calendar in a very bizarre way. He added a month each Jewish leap year on a cycle of every 7 and 19 years to make up the adjustment. Other civilizations made different adjustments as they saw the rotational speed of the Earth change as it moved around the sun. So over the period of the next 5 years, all the civilizations caught up to 365-day years. And today, we have 365-day years, but we didn't have that in the immediate past. Before 705 BC, they were 360 days.
That is amazing.